A State of the Union address is supposed to be an address to the entire country saying, here's who we are as Americans. Here's what matters to all of us. It's supposed to be a pep rally for the entire country. And Trump will get up there like he always does during his speech. He will try to relitigate the 2020 election because he can't help himself. And he'll start going off on these weird tangents that have nothing to do with what the American people want.
Well, first of all, it's hard to unify the country when many Democrats refuse to come tomorrow and stage protests in the middle of the speech. Second of all,
you're not planning
with respect to
right?
I'm not going because this president is divisive. You don't go into U.S. cities and terrorize people.
Here's part
you
of the
don't
problem.
tell lies, and you do not become an anti-black president who has come after African Americans. That's divisive. That's why I'm not going.
Cities like Minneapolis, like New York, like Portland, Oregon, that refuse to honor detainer agreements, that refuse to say we will turn over a criminal to federal authorities. What happens is, in a city like New York, they release them back on the street to commit more crimes. And so you get ICE agents coming in to actually take them off the street. A controlled handoff of a criminal alien at a county or city or municipal jail is far safer than having ICE agents have to go into the community to get them. That should have been happening. These blue states refuse to cooperate. That's why you have this surge.
You agree we need some reforms.
Of course. But this is what I've been arguing for years. You have to secure the border. We have done that.
We agree with
that. You have to deport the criminal aliens. Yep. We are doing that.
Agreed.
Yep.
You need immigration reform. It's why I've been a co-lead on the Dignity Act last Congress and this Congress, so that people who have been in this country for more than 5 years, who are not committing crimes, who are participating in the workforce, who pay their taxes, who pay a fine, can have a legal status, not a pathway to citizenship, but a legal status to stay in this country. And many of them.
But if you bust into someone's house, an American's house, you need a warrant, right? And we should have better training.
Of course, for an American's house, no question. But here's the fundamental problem: Democrats will say we need a federal judicial warrant in order to cooperate. But when you have these detainers being issued for somebody who committed a state crime, and most crimes committed are under state law, why won't Democratic cities and mayors cooperate with ICE on that issue?
Even that. I was on the show with Casey. We were talking to the mayor of Minneapolis. During the Obama administration, they had ICE agents in the prison, right?
In the county jail,
right? Not allowed in the Trump administration. Geez, I wonder why. Yeah. I wonder why they cooperated during the Obama administration, not cooperating now. And so there's got to be an end to sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. Correct. You can't, if you're a municipality, you can't just say, we like these laws, we don't like these laws. How about if you're in the next Democratic administration, we're going to say, we don't like the EPA. We're not going to follow any of the laws the EPA promulgates. We're just not going to do it.
Well, that's
we're not going to do. We're just. Well, no, it doesn't actually happen. Right. We're going to pick and choose.
I want to
your village. I don't like to pay taxes.
Let's pull the lens out a little bit. Take all the points, all the weeds on the immigration. But tomorrow night, the president is going to give a speech. Historically, the State of the Union is for everybody.
Yep.
Some Democrats are going, some are not. Are you going?
I'll be there.
Okay, so
I'm not
you
going.
two are on different pages. You are not going. Why do you think it's the right thing to go?
Because I want to hear what the president. It's about the country. And I want to hear what the president has to say and what he's going to do to actually make life more affordable for folks. Hoping he's actually going to bring the Gateway train tunnel back and fund it between New York and Jersey. But I want to hear what the president's going to do to get people their health insurance more affordable. What they're going to do about food. What are they going to do about the tariffs? Because by the way, those tariffs are a big tax on a lot of my families, and so we got to.
And what do you say to those in your party who are not going?
That's of course Marilyn's choice, and I respect that. But
why wouldn't
that's everyone? By the way, there were Republicans under Biden who didn't show up for Biden, if you remember, right? And listen, that's everyone's individual choice.
Congresswoman, I want to play for you Stephen A. Smith, who has been actually talked about as a potential presidential contender, but he had a message. Stephen A. Smith, the host. He had a message for
kind of a popular guy.
Exactly.
For Democrats for not attending. I want to ask you to respond to it. Watch.
Okay.
Some are talking about walking out in the middle of his speech. Others are talking about boycotting it altogether and essentially finding something else to do. I'm here to tell you that neither is acceptable. At some point in time, ladies and gentlemen, there's got to be an adult in the room. If you're going to act as juvenile, as petulant, as petty, as you accuse the president of the United States to be, how are you ever going to hold a high moral ground, at least high enough to judge him accordingly? This is the kind of stuff that ticks me off.
Why is he wrong, Congressman?
Stephen A. Smith is entitled to his opinion, and as Josh said earlier, I respect any decision that any of my colleagues make on either side of the aisle to attend or to not attend a State of the Union address. But for him to go off about petulance and disrespect, it's kind of rich coming from him. And here's the deal. I'm not going to Trump's State of the Union address because he is anti-Black. He has taken so many actions during this administration that show he does not care about Black people. Firing public employees, many of whom are African American, wanting to rename military bases after Confederate traitors, trying to take down displays that show African American history, trying to do an executive order about the African American Museum. Pete Hegseth, as his Secretary of Defense, who stood in a meeting and said, DEI is dead, when 40% of the people who are enlisted in the military are people of color, 20% are African American. So this overt anti-Black agenda of this president does not work for me. So Stephen Smith can have an opinion, but Stephen Smith doesn't vote for me.
I would just push back on that a tad and saying, who saved HBCUs in the first administration?
So let's talk about
I'm
HBCUs
just saying,
for a second.
Donald Trump.
Let's talk
Obama
about
cut
this.
the funding.
Okay. So
Donald Trump funded it.
So I'm going to accept a lecture from you about HBCUs.
I'm not lecturing. I'm just asking.
And I'm a
just asking
graduate.
you.
I'm a graduate of Clark Atlanta
I'm asking
University.
you. Did
So
Donald
here's the
Trump
deal.
save it?
Here's the deal. HBCUs have been grossly underfunded for decades, for as long as I can remember. But when you are doing things like taking health care away from the families of the students who
you're
are
not
there,
answering the question.
You're not listening to me. When you take away food assistance, when you do things like that that hurt the families, you're hurting the kids who are going to HBCUs. Most of the kids who go to HBCUs are first-generation college people, and they come from families that are underserved.
So will you just submit to Donald? I mean, say, when you agreed to Donald Trump save HBCUs?
I'm not going to say he saved them, because that's not true.
Okay.
A lot of funding
How
went
about
to
who
them.
signed the First Step Act, putting more African-American men out of jail than any other president in the history of this republic?
You know, here's the deal. Donald Trump in this term is anti-Black. All of the action that he has taken, the things he has done to hurt the African American community, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. And that's why I'm not.
No credit for the other stuff.